You're so strong and rational.
Yeah, man.
From now on, I identify as homosexual.
The same people who are proclaiming themselves the great moral standard bearers for the United States spent the entire last year pretending that Andrew Cuomo was a great governor while he was killing all the old people and covering it up. We knew that he was doing this, by the way, last summer. I mean, there was open reporting from a wide variety of right-wing sources about how Andrew Cuomo had changed the reporting standards in New York with regard to nursing home deaths. But that was the exact same time the media were too busy fawning over the so-called love gov. They literally called him the love gov. I mean, the irony of this is just beyond the pale. They called him the love gov while he was grabbing his subordinate's ass. That's unbelievable. Okay, here is just a flashback media montage of all of these people performing the human centipede on Andrew Cuomo.
Governor Cuomo out there day after day after day, everything Trump isn't, honest, direct, brave.
Real leadership of the kind the President of the United States should have provided.
Governor Cuomo is clearly living in a totally different reality, the actual one, than the President of the United States.
Governor Cuomo has become a national leader.
For a lot of people, Andrew Cuomo has become the leader of the Democratic Party.
He is conveying incredible strength.
You spoke to National Guard troops today in a stirring speech that, if I wasn't listening carefully, I thought you were sending soldiers off to war.
I mean, so inspirational. You'll recall that Trevor Noah called himself a Cuomo-sexual on air.
The one governor who's crushing it the most right now is Andrew Cuomo. Yes. Thanks to his handling, his approval rating has soared to a 7-year high. And he's even becoming something of a crush for many people. Yeah, people online are falling in love with him. And I'm not gonna lie, those people include me. My Tinder profile now lists me as a Cuomo-sexual.
Okay, Randy Rainbow, who of course puts together these very uncomfortable videos on TikTok and YouTube and Twitter, he had an entire video about how much he wanted to have sex with Andrew Cuomo.
You're so strong and rational. From now on, I identify as homosexual. You're kind and smart. You touch my heart. Your polo shirts are nice, so I'm glad we've had my Andy.
Yeah, man. Spent a year doing that. But now I'm supposed to believe that that you guys were, it was all morality all the time. He was so good at this. Now, my favorite thing is that even amidst their newfound moral fervor for getting rid of Andrew Cuomo and their apparent hatred, it is so funny how they bounce around on the Me Too stuff, right? If it's Joe Biden, we don't pay attention to any of the Me Too stuff. If it's Donald Trump, we pay a lot of attention to the Me Too stuff. If it's Andrew Cuomo and there are sort of these dark rumors last year, then we don't pay attention to it too much. And in fact, we actually mobilized some people who were involved with Time's Up to attack his accusers. If, however, he becomes inconvenient, then we all remember that Me Too is still a thing. It's really fun how that works. Well, Democrats are having trouble right now determining whether they're actually happy or sad that Andrew Cuomo is going. Alec Baldwin, for example, he says this is a tragic day. He put out a statement on Twitter, quote, "Regardless of what you think of Cuomo, this is a tragic day. Party politics in this country draw ambitious, but ultimately isolated, even socially maladjusted men and women who, given the current cancel culture, will likely have their shortcomings exposed and magnified." Tragic day. So tragic. What will we do without Andrew Cuomo? Chuck Todd was already talking comeback. He ain't even gone yet, Chuck. Again, give us like a minute here. He literally did not leave. He resigned. He's still going to be there for 2 weeks, presumably hoping that there will be some miracle and he will reinstate himself. Here is Chuck Todd suggesting a comeback already.
His career was either permanently over or almost permanently over, and he chose the path of almost permanently over. Right? The resignation gives him, we know the way our world works. It's amazing. The people we've seen make political comebacks. You can't ever rule it out. Look, I expect in my lifetime, Andrew Cuomo to probably run for office again. What that office is, I don't know. But that's what this resignation tells me today.
Okay, by the way, I don't think he's wrong. I'm making fun of Chuck Todd, but I don't think he's wrong. I think that's why Andrew Cuomo did it. Okay, the best take, you can always count on Jennifer Rubin for the best take. Remember that time when Jennifer Rubin was the in-house conservative at the Washington Post? Remember how silly that was? Now she's just the crazy person at the Washington Post, one of many. She tweeted out, the first New York woman governor ever. Now, see, here's the thing, Jennifer. You don't get to celebrate the first New York woman governor ever if she assumed the office because a man had to resign for grabbing ass. That is not how that works. Normally, when you talk about the first New York woman governor or something, that person has to be elected. Right? Like, if you don't elect the person, we don't all get credit for that. There is a certain irony, by the way, to the fact that the person who is taking over for Andrew Cuomo is a woman named Kathy Hochul. So she is an ex-representative, ex-congressional representative, Kathy Hochul. What's hilarious about this is that the way that she apparently rises in the world, through no fault of her own, this is not her fault, is that she just comes in after a dude can't keep it in his pants and takes over his office. That's like her actual career history. It's really, really funny. And she became the first Democrat to represent New York's 26th congressional district in decades. How? Well, Republican Representative Chris Lee was caught sending shirtless selfies to a woman he met through Craigslist. Okay, so she ended up winning that race because her Republican opponent was sending shirtless pictures on Craigslist while running for office. So she ended up winning that race. Then, of course, she ended up losing subsequent races. She rebounded from there into the lieutenant governor's office, and all she had to do was wait for another dude who couldn't keep it in his pants, Andrew Cuomo. So that's pretty, I mean, listen, it does say something about male politicians, that a pathway toward victory is just be second in line behind a male politician. Like, that's pretty rich. I'm kind of admitting to enjoying that a little bit. But here is the bottom line. In the end, what Andrew Cuomo's resignation says is not much about the status of Democratic morality or about the status of the Me Too movement or anything like that. It says a lot about the politically expedient way in which Andrew Cuomo was capped off the side of the road. Right? They shot Sonny on the causeway. I mean, that's all that happened here. And we can pretend that this is an act of moral virtue by Democrats or that it matters all that much. But in the end, it really doesn't. It doesn't. He was inconvenient, so they got rid of him. Did you know that every single like creates one additional leftist tier? That is just science.